It's time to go outside. I'm working. I need fresh air. I have reports due. I haven't seen the sun in 2 days. I can feel the vitamin D evaporating out of me. Ugh, that is not vitamin D. Let's go. I'll make you a deal. Let me finish these emails and this spreadsheet, and then we can go out. Half an hour tops. You said half an hour ago. I'm sorry. I have work to do. Could you keep it down? I need to sleep. Wait your turn. Done. Yes! Wait. Suspended between all that was and all that might be, we struggle to find this very moment, to live this very moment. Let us sit together for a moment and savor this time. Let us relish this between time where past meets future. Let us harbor a faith that reminds us that right now, right here, is enough. Come, let us worship together. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. Welcome here into our homes. Thank you for welcoming us into yours for these video worship services. I'd like to extend a special welcome to anyone who is coming to us for the first time through these services online. I hope that the day is coming soon when we can meet you in person, but until that time comes when we can do that safely, I remind you that whoever you are, wherever you are in your life's journey this morning, you are welcome to join us here in worship. And now take a moment to create a sacred space for yourself. Clear out all the other distractions you may have around you. Let go of your concern. Light a candle. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel yourself grounded. And let us begin in silence. Let us come together now in a time of prayer and reflection. We begin by lighting a candle today for all of our sorrows, for everything that has broken our hearts and weighed us down. We light this candle in remembrance. And we light this candle for all the joy we have felt in this week, for everything that has opened our hearts and lifted us up, for everything that has brought us laughter or a moment of comfort. We light this candle in remembrance. The words of our prayer this morning come to us from Kenneth P. Langer. Eternal and beloved, gracious source of all life and all love, we come together this morning grateful for this time out of time, which we are setting apart so that we might become more fully present to ourselves, to each other, to that which we call holy. May our joys be celebrated together, our wounds be healed together, our hearts be open together. Spirit, let me find peace within, so that I may be calm throughout. Let me find silence within, so that I may find compassion throughout. Let me be reminded that some things are worth waiting for. Let me be reminded that the journey is more important than reaching the destination. Let me see that the non-doing is as much a part of life as the doing. Let me be reminded that it is in these moments of holding on that I can find quietude and renewal. It is within these times of inaction that I can find rest. It is in these times of emptiness that I can become full. All this we pray in the names of those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind. Amen.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Time for All Ages for today. And today we're going to talk about balance, but I need some help. So I'm going to say hi to Nina. Hi, Nina. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Will you help me with the Time for All Ages today?
Yes.
Yay! Thank you. I need all your help. Renee, how are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Cool. Will you help me with the Time for All Ages?
Yes, I'll help you, Tina.
Yay! Thank you. And Rebecca, will you help me with the Time for All Ages?
I can help you with the Time for All Ages too.
Yay! Okay, so we're going to talk about balance today and how to balance things in our life, right? Because sometimes it gets crazy. But I'm going to share with you a story about how I had to balance all these plates when I worked in a restaurant. So I balanced these plates like this, right? In my hands, in my fingers, on my arm. And I wasn't very good at it, but I learned. And I mean, I didn't spill the food all over everybody. So I guess I did okay. But, you know, I have a lot of plates like this in my life now because like sometimes like these plates now to me represent different things that I have to balance in my life. So like this one is my work and my schoolwork and study time. This one was having fun. Like I love to have fun. Nina, do you like having fun? Yeah.
To have fun.
Yeah, you like to have fun. So we should put that plate there. So eating healthy and cooking healthy and family relationships and exercise. Oh my gosh, these are getting a lot. I'm not sure if I can do all this. And friendships and my church relationships and my church stuff. My health, because right now we need to be concerned about our health a little bit more, take our vitamins and other people's health and hobbies and outdoor time and my chores, because sometimes my parents would yell at me if I didn't do my chores, and so I got to do that. Oh my gosh, and social justice and service groups, and I can't like balance it all. I don't don't know how I'm going to do this. I need your help. Hey, Nina, can you help me?
Yes.
You can? Okay. Will you show me how you balance on your balance? Because I need some help balancing stuff. Woo!
Let's go back the other way, Nina.
Yeah, do the other way.
Go. Nice.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. So, Nina, can you tell me how do you balance like that? Like, what do you have to do to balance like that?
So I do gymnastics when I do it at home, and yeah, and I I balance
Balance? Do you
and
practice?
practice.
Practice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And what happens if you fall off? You get back up, or?
Yes, I get back up and I do it again
You do it again.
to practice.
Okay. Hey, that's awesome. Thank you for showing us how to balance like that. That's awesome. So Renee, how do you balance things in your life?
Well, I keep my balance by sustaining my roots. Did you know that we have roots? Yeah, we just can't see them. So I need to give my roots what they need to be strong and to support me. Yeah, so especially when I'm feeling unbalanced, which happens sometimes, right? Yeah. So I have a little story about a houseplant. Yeah, so I was moving a houseplant from one pot to another, and one of the stems broke off with a little leaf at the end. So I thought, what if I give this little stem what it needs? Maybe it can grow roots. And so I put it in a jar of water. I put it on the windowsill. It got sunshine. And guess what happened? It grew roots. Can you see that?
Cool.
Yeah, look at all of those roots. So this little stem was feeling a bit unbalanced at first, but it got what it needed and grew roots and became strong. Yeah. So some things that I do to keep my roots strong is get Nina hugs. My friends help to keep my roots strong, like my church friends. And coffee. And what else?
Coffee?
And sleep when I can get it.
Did you say coffee?
Yes. What helps to keep you balanced, Nina?
I already said.
Oh, could you say it again?
Okay.
Talking to Grandma?
I practice. I go to gymnastics school. I practice gymnastics.
Okay, well, that's one thing that keeps you balanced.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys for sharing.
Also,
Yes.
I also practice holding plates on my head.
Oh, we're gonna do that. Okay, so Rebecca, what helps you stay balanced?
Well, Tina, it looks like you were trying to balance way too many plates earlier. So I think, would you consider letting some of them go?
I mean, all of them are so important. I don't know.
Well, I know that everything is important, but you can't possibly serve everyone and yourself by balancing so many plates. So maybe if you started with just one and added to that.
So what would you put on your one plate then, Rebecca?
Well, I would start with something healthy and tasty to eat so that I have plenty of energy and a nourished brain for good thinking power. Then I would add some kind of exercise like playing in my yard or going on a hike or even just taking a walk around my neighborhood. It's really nice to get outside. I think a chat with a friend or someone in my family would fit nicely on my plate. Since most of my family doesn't live with me, and of course, the safest way to visit with a friend is FaceTime or Zoom or even just a phone call. I would do that. It looks like there's still room on my plate for playing or listening to music, drawing or coloring or painting a picture, writing in a journal, reading a story about someone or something that I think is interesting. And now my plate is getting full. I don't think there's room for anything else. So I'll work on this plate for now. If I finish it, I might fill another one later, but I think it's better to work on this one before I start another.
Okay, so let me get this, see if I can get this right. So you guys all had really good advice, so I'm gonna try. I'm gonna test it out. So Nina taught us to balance, right? So I'm gonna balance like this, kinda, and see if I can do it. I'm gonna practice a lot, like Nina said. And then this is called the tree pose. So I got my roots down, like Renee said. I'm gonna feed them a lot of good stuff and lots of take care of them, right? That's what she was telling us to do. So we gotta take care of our roots. And like that could be taking care of our relationships, our family, our friends, our church family. We gotta take care of people, right? So take care of our roots and our communities. And then we can put our one plate, like Rebecca said, you know, we can just have a little bit of all the things that root us down, right, on our plates. So what's on your guys' plate? You guys can think about what you want to put on your one plate. And if you finish your one plate, you can move on to a second plate. You got to finish like dinner time. And then you can put it on your head and try to practice. Yeah, Nina's doing it too! Oh my gosh! Oh, she's better than I am. So, you can try this at home, folks of all ages, and try to do your tree pose and your one plate balance on your head of your things that you hold dear to you and that root you down and that feed your root. All right. So practice this as your intention table activity, and then you can take pictures of you guys as family members doing the tree pose with a plate on your head and put it on our virtual Facebook, virtual fellowship hall. Everybody's safe. So thank you guys for teaching us about balance. Thank you so much. And we'll
Thank
see
you, Tina. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Bye. Peace, love, happiness.
Bye.
Bye.
Our reading this morning comes to us from the Reverend Richard S. Gilbert. Life is always unfinished business. In the midst of the whirling day, in the hectic rush to be doing, in the frantic pace of life, pause here for a moment. Catch your breath. Relax your body. Loosen your grip on life. Consider that our lives are always unfinished business. Imagine that the picture of our being is never complete. Allow your life to be a work in progress. Do not hurry to mold the masterpiece. Do not rush to finish the picture. Do not be impatient to complete the drawing. From beckoning birth to dawning death, we are in process, and always there is more to be done. Do not let the incompleteness weigh on your spirit. Do not despair that imperfection marks your every day. Do not fear that we are still in the making. Let us instead be grateful that the world is still to be created. Let us give thanks that we can be more than we are. Let us celebrate the power of incompleteness, for life is always unfinished business. Over the last 15 years, my sermon writing process has become one of being intentional about the space that I am in. I have taken to writing my sermon or outlining my notes in the sanctuary. Imagining seeing all of your faces in the seats where you inevitably sit week after week. Because after all, the art of the sermon is not just about delivering a monologue or entertaining you. It is about engaging in a relationship with the congregation. And so the space and the audience are important aspects of putting together that piece of creativity that I'm working on each week. The physical space that I am in for various aspects of my vocation and my avocation is in fact very important to me. Take this space, for example. This space that I've been preaching to you from for the last 8 weeks now is my son's room, or was my son's room, after he moved to college, and now that he's moved across the country to Seattle, it has become my home study, my creative space, the space where I work on short films like you saw this morning, or sketch out an idea, write a story or a poem, do creative things that aren't necessarily related to my work with all of you. It's things I do for my own soul. And being in here helps to keep me grounded and centered in who I am outside of my vocation. But now this space has become all my spaces. All my space is one space now. My home, where I engage in my family life, is now my office, is now my own creative sanctuary, is now the sanctuary that we worship in, is now my counseling space, is the boardroom, is the classroom where I study my improvisation. This space has become all of my spaces. Now, the short film that I shared with you this morning reflects how I feel frequently in the midst of all this, now that everything I am is contained within just about one room or two or three. But the truth is, I don't live a divided life. I'm not split off into multiple personalities like you saw, and the aspects of who I am and who I desire to be are not walled off from one another, not separated. They're not on a regimented schedule with this time for work and this time for play. All of who I am, the wholeness of me, coexists in a very complex relationship. In fact, I could have made a much longer film for you today with dozens of Johns spread all over a room, aspects of my vocation and my avocations, all of my physical needs, the need to eat, the need to move around, the need to sleep, all of my mental endeavors and my soul endeavors, my artistic endeavors, dozens and dozens of aspects of my wholeness fighting for my ultimate attention. I always assumed that the goal in creating this relationship of the various me's was to achieve a state of balance. But perhaps that is too much to ask. Nancy Kostikian is the director of the Office of Work-Life at Harvard University. And in a recent interview with her in the Harvard Gazette, when asked about the work-life balance, she says most work-life practitioners dislike work-life balance as a term and as a concept. The concept seems static to me, she says, and one that sets an impossible standard. Rather, Kostikian asks us to think of our work and our life and the various aspects of ourselves as one of engaging in an ongoing balancing act. An act that doesn't reach any sort of stasis. Imagine, she says, standing on one foot. You can't see me doing this right now, but standing on one foot, feel all of a sudden how your body goes out of balance. And to stay upright, you can feel all the micro adjustments that your body is making from head to toe in order to stay upright on that one foot. You are in a constant state of making those adjustments. And now with both feet back on the ground, you may not feel it as much, but your body is engaged in the exact same balancing act, making adjustments to itself so you can stay upright on your own 2 feet. It is a constant act of micro adjustments to remain upright. So I go back to the little film that I made, the sense of those internal conflicts and combat with myself. That is an expression, really, of that ongoing balancing act, those micro adjustments that I need to make in order to stay and grow within the wholeness of myself. And when all my spaces become one space, what I have found in the last several weeks is that I have had to spend more time intentionally listening to the needs of my whole self. Now let me be clear. I have found myself having to become more intentional in that listening, but in no way am I succeeding at any sort of high percentage rate at any of this. I am failing spectacularly at the balancing act in new and interesting ways every day. In fact, outside me in that film is frequently put into a corner to sit by himself far more often than he should. And while I am being clear that I'm not very successful with this balancing act, I also want to be honest and tell you today, I have no answers for how to solve this for you. Our wholenesses are each different. We are balancing very different aspects of ourselves, and I have no foolproof, bullet-pointed plan to offer you today. I have no catch-all, cure-all for the delicate balancing act we are all engaging in every day, but feeling more deeply even now. I am living in the struggle of all of this balancing every day, right here and right now. And all I can do, and all I am doing, is just my best. Doing my best to adjust my routines, to answer the demands, to adjust the person I am and the aspects that have some dominance as I go, so that I can try and try again to live into that wholeness. Sometimes this balancing act is a negotiation. All right, you answer 2 more phone calls and then you can take a video game break. Sometimes it's a strict taskmaster who has to draw a boundary line for himself. Yesterday, you worked overtime, so today you're going to do some dishes and then you're going to go take a walk. Sometimes, when I'm on my balancing game at its finest, sometimes those aspects of me blur and blend in ways that serve one another. Sometimes I sit in my intended creative space and create something brand new, and I end up using it for worship, as I did this morning. And sometimes the balancing act is just a pause. Sometimes overwhelmed by everything and not knowing where to start, I don't start, and I pause. Sometimes I just need to feel myself grounded and breathe and remember that today I don't need to finish it all. After all, as Richard Gilbert points out to us, life is always unfinished business. And the sooner we accept that, the easier we can take it on ourselves, and the more finely tuned we can engage in that balancing act. Or as I like to say, and has become one of my mantras over the last couple of years, the perfect is the enemy of the good. The striving for perfection will be my downfall. I am not perfect and cannot be. And so, in fact, why not embrace my imperfection? As a human being, as a leader, as a father, as a husband, as a friend, why not accept that I will be imperfect? Embrace my imperfection and the imperfection of the process of being whole and the imperfection of this balancing act that I engage in. The most important adjustment in this balancing act is the frequent forgiveness of myself when I overcorrect, when I lose my balance, when I start to fall. The most important adjustment is the forgiveness of myself in my imperfection. Or as Kostikian says in her interview in the Harvard Gazette, talking about that delicate balancing act, if you remain mostly upright, you are doing it well enough. You and I, we do not have to do this perfectly. We do not have to balance perfectly. The quest for perfection, in fact, will wear us down far too quickly. And so my prayer for all of us, no matter what sort of balancing act we are engaging in right now, no matter what aspects of ourselves are demanding our attention and our time, my prayer is that no matter how we engage, we remain mostly upright. May we embrace our imperfection and celebrate our capacity to do well enough. May it be so. Here in New Mexico, our native communities have been particularly hard hit by the pandemic. Our community partner for our offering this month are the two relief funds for our native community, for the Navajo Nation COVID-19 Relief Fund and for the Pueblo Relief Fund. The website addresses for both are here on your screen or can be found below in the service notes. Please visit those sites to make your direct donations to either or both of those funds. Please give as generously as you can, and may what you give bring you joy and into deeper relationship with your community. Friends, may life bless us and keep us, the light of life shine upon us and out from within us, and be gracious to us and bring us peace. For this is the day. This is the one wild and precious life we have been given, so let us all find a way to rejoice and be glad in it. Go in peace.